Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the Last Epoch dev stream. As always, I'm your host, Mike. But not like always, you may notice this lovely cord hanging over my shoulder. I'm part robot. You knew it all along. No, having some back pain, so we're sitting down with a heating pad on us today, but we're going to still power through and keep going. Leveling our Holy Trail Javelin Paladin. Yeah, so lots happened today, or this week, I guess. I should start out. If this is your first time here, please feel free to ask any questions you'd like. I'll do my best to answer all of them. Please put an @Last Epoch game in front of the question, so I see it ahead of time. And as always, we stream for charity, so all of our streaming proceeds go towards Good Sports, who's our charity of the month, and they are helping kids get into sports, do sports things. You know, it's fun sports kids do. So yeah, we've, I guess, catch people up on the news of the week if you haven't heard. We've been doing lots of multiplayer development. We've did a couple multiplayer streams with Ziz and Steel Mage. Went awesome. Very happy with that. Yeah. Stuff's moving along. It's great. Love to see development moving along. I tried to unlock the empowered monoliths on this character and failed somehow. So we're just gonna keep playing through it because I'm enjoying it. It's a nice, relaxing character to play. Has good damage. See if you can find some. Maybe find a couple gear upgrades this time. Our gear's pretty sweet. I'd love to make a weapon. That's my goal for this week. I think actually is legendarize, legendify. I don't know what you want to call it. My weapon. Legendify. Yeah, there we go. To make legendary. That's a term, right? We should do a vault at 8 million gold. Spend it. See what's up. All right, first question coming in. Welcome, Lone Star McFluffin. How you doing, bud? How did you all feel about multiple streams this week? On the technical side, did it go how you expected / hoped? So there was I can say overall, yeah, pretty happy with it. Was there room for improvement and did some stuff go wrong? Yeah, sadly it did. That was the first time I'd seen that. So at the end of Steel Mage's stream, we all basically got hung and locked out. And on that build of the game, that's the first time I've seen that happen. So it's been a while since I've seen that happen, which is a little disappointing to have happen. It was near the end, and you know, like it was not terrible, but it's a little frustrating that it happened at all. You know, like you play for weeks not having things like that go wrong, and then it does when you're showing it off. You're like, oh, come on. But you know, overall, I thought it went really well. I think the I think the footage, especially when you're seeing from like his perspective, and like because we were across an ocean and plus a large continent in some of our cases, so like I was experiencing, I would say, mild lag, which I mean is to be expected when you're playing that far away. But it was like you watch the stream back and it was really smooth for Ziz, which was great. So yeah, overall happy. Improvements, yeah, but we expected that. As far as the first look goes, I think it was pretty successful. I'd actually be interested to know how people felt about it, 'cause I don't think I've seen much feedback. Maybe I'm just not looking hard enough on the game stability that we saw. Is there a viable Thorns build? I was loved watching enemies punch me in the face and explode. There's kind of like there's a fringe build that I've seen people kind of work a little bit. Viable, I think, might be a stretch at this point. It doesn't scale like normal damage, so it's hard to push it into like empowered monoliths basically. Usually it's used more as supplementary damage, sort of like a I know I'm gonna get hit a fair bit, so I'll put a little bit of this on to sort of boost my damage and just get a little bit more out of being hit. How about from a sales side? Did you see a noticeable bump this week due to multiple streams? There's every time we do a large publicity event like that, there's definitely a noticeable difference in sales patterns. I haven't actually seen the graphs, but there were a couple comments and I'm like, okay, yeah, it's as expected. Good, cool. Which is nice. I try really hard not to pay attention to any of that, because it's like, I know it sounds kind of, I don't know, weird, but it's really just about making a fun game. Like that's the best part. So I try and ignore as much of that as I can, and just stick to making a game. There's other people that can worry about that. I'm quite lucky not to have to anymore. Alright, I thought it was great you were able to showcase multiplayer with people basically all over the world. I feel like that's not getting enough attention. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, it was, so there was people in South Central United States, as far west as west goes, Canada, and central east-ish Canada. And I am being very vague on the general areas here, and then the UK as well. So like there's, and we were playing on UK servers the whole time. So it was, yeah, it was pretty far away, and it was, I don't know, like at no point when we were playing, I know you couldn't see my perspective, but at no point when we were playing was I like, oh my god, this lag is terrible. There's something wrong here, you know? Like, at worst, it's just like, oh, that guy position corrected, cool. That's the sort of stuff I was seeing pretty rarely, which is nice. I was quite happy with the gameplay experience I was getting, even so far away. And I like, it was exactly what I expected, because I've done that lots before. And I also know that when you're playing on a local, like a server that's nearby you, so if I'm playing on any of the North American servers at all, like even if it's a far East Coast server, it's, as far as I'm concerned, it's the same as single player. I found one build with Void Knight have damage tank support in the same time playing my character. Nice. A well-rounded character is lovely to have. I love how Blade Dancer works with shadows and create a good combo with different abilities to creating shadows and using them. Are there any other builds that play like that you would recommend? I mean, so we really do try and keep, well, one of the big like pillars of design that we do talk about frequently is class identity. So we do frequently try to make mechanics unique to each class. There are things that do cross skills like that, though, that aren't just shadows. Like there's also, so I was playing a my current like main, called main in multiplayer, is a fast detonating decoy Cinder Strike build, which is actually what I started building in Steel Mage's stream. But that one is that was really fun, and it actually uses shadows too. So it's interesting. You can kind of sneak the shadows in multiple different builds if you want to. But I think there's like cross skill synergies in just about every class. Another one where it uses one skill outside of any skill, like so. You can use some good fire aura stuff on mage, and that's like a triggered ability that's consistent across several skills. It's kind of similar, I guess. Alright, hi, I wanted to know about the bosses in multiplayer because my friend and I play in masochist difficulty. Good luck. And for us alone, the space to fight with a boss is very small. How will that be in multiplayer? Yeah, it can get tight on some boss arenas for sure. That's generally pretty intentional, having the space be small, having it be necessary to be kind of tactical with how you're doing things. Those are nice boots right out of the gate. Whew, love those. Spike has resubbed. Thank you very much for the resub, Spike. I appreciate you. Welcome to the party. Oh, actually, no, welcome back to the party. Alright, yeah, those boots are nice. I like the strength more than the vitality, I think. I mean, the vitality more than the strength. Words! Yes, I know what they are and how they work. I was made up anyways. Oh yeah, nice little idol. Find a place for that in a bit. Yeah, it's like, I will say the game's not generally balanced around masochist mode. That's a very much an extra challenge you're taking on for yourself. And I wouldn't expect things to be rebalanced or tailored towards that mode in general. It's definitely an experienced player extra challenge, because it's exactly what it says it is. You like the pain, you like the difficulty. It lives up to its name, or at least we try to make it live up to its name. Totem blocking my way. Ugh. Ooh, despair glyph. I'd like to see. Alright. I'd like to echo that the gameplay looked a lot smoother than I expected it to. Not exactly sure what I expected necessarily. And the confirmation of some things was great. Multiple this year, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot. The last couple of years has basically just been making multiplayer, and hopefully it's we're showing off a good reason for it to have taken so long. In that the quality is high. That's been our goal since the start, was just really high quality multiplayer systems. The whole game, we've been focused on quality for the last couple years, because we think we've got a pretty solid base, and executing on those last few systems and increasing the overall quality of just every aspect, from like the visuals to the gameplay systems to the actual functional experience, everything. Yeah. Next question. How do you feel about the experience book nodes being buffed post-launch when experience gain is lowered overall? I mean, okay, so really the experience gain that we talked about stretching out was specifically the 95 to 100 range. And like it's a curve, so it'll curve, but like that's that super end game, those last few levels. That's the part we're really talking about stretching out as far as experience gain, much more so than anything else. And still even not that crazy much, but just like just want to be clear on that it's not like oh hey, we're stretching everything. No. As far as the books being buffed, I'd say that kind of counteracts the effect of stretching out the experience requirements, so probably not, but maybe, you never know. It's not out of the question, and once it happens, I'd say give it a shot, see how it feels, and if you want it, we're always open to suggestions and feedback, for sure. Alright. Are additional endgame systems planned for 1.0 or will be added later, like more dungeons or monoliths content, for example? I mean, we're always planning more of that stuff. I can't really say exactly what's going to happen by 1.0, but there's definitely a long roadmap that we have planned for lots of new in-game stuff. Like for many years, we've got more stuff planned, and that includes more in-game stuff, a lot of more in-game stuff. Yeah, because we know that's really important content to have, and it's what's gonna keep the game engaging for a long time. Did you see Ziz got another Helm of the Screen today? I did. Yeah, he posted it in our group DM with him. Shut it off. So that was pretty good. I don't think he was playing like Stormcrow Bear though. Not, I don't think he was playing Wolves. Probably didn't expect to drop one. I don't know if he switched after that though. Were there any questions you expected to be asked that weren't? If so, what were they? And any leaks for the video today? I don't have a lot for today. We've had a lot of news over the last few days, so I would say it's a light week for sure at best. But I've got a fun little thing to show you guys later. And as far as questions that we expected to be asked that weren't, I don't think so. Oh yeah, I guess we were not expecting, half expecting. Wouldn't have been surprised if I'd seen more questions that were, I guess, a little more tightly relating things to PoE. I was happy that it was all about Epoch, which was great. Yeah, I was expecting a little more of that relation, I think. Mostly from like chat questions. I mean, there may have been more. I wasn't paying attention to chat for most of it. Especially in Steel Mages, that's trying just not to die. Alright. I love how this game looks. So I think the most ARPG creators are inspired by Diablo. Was there an idea that you wanted to pitch in that would make this game unique? Was there an idea that you wanted to pitch in that would make this game unique? I mean, I think we've really tried to carve out our own space of like visual style and lore and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, like we all draw inspiration from the games that we play. But there's a pretty wide variety of games that people play on our team, and so you get a lot of inspiration from a lot of different places. And when you get enough inspiration from enough different places, it kind of starts to create something brand new, I think. Which is, obviously you can draw connections on individual components, but I think we're at a point where this is sort of our style now, which I really like. There's, yeah, some of the artists that have done like a lot of work have definitely done a really good job of making a unique style, I think. And some of the artists that have joined us recently have been able to like to match the theme, the overall theming, but bring their own twist and add their own zhuzh to it, which I think is really cool. I love getting new concept art posted in our development Discord. Like just seeing the new stuff that's showing up, and I don't know. That's one of my favorite things to do, is just look at new concept art. I have the, I don't know where it is. It's down there somewhere. I've got the like the Zelda whatever anniversary concept art and design book here somewhere, and oh, it's just gorgeous to look through. I'd love to do something like that. That would be really neat. I don't take that as anything. I'd love that as a fan. That was Mike talking, not EHG Mike talking. Alright, at what point can we expect a character wipe? So the characters that you're playing right now on the 085 client are locally saved characters. And we're not going to go in and delete your characters from your computer. So those are yours, you get to keep those, have fun. Once 0.9 releases and we start opening up multiplayer, those characters will not be eligible to transition into multiplayer. So offline characters stay offline, online characters stay online, done. No exceptions. And so you can kind of look at that as a wipe, because the characters you're playing now will not be playable if you change to a new game mode. So it's kind of a wipe. It's soft wipe, maybe you want to call it, a fresh start for everyone, a forced ladder reset. I don't know what you want to call it, but so there's that. And then once we hit 1.0, we'll start a new ladder at 1.0. Or shortly after, possibly. We're not 100% sure when it's going to happen, but it'll be in and around 1.0. The only reason we might, just an aside, the only reason we might delay that is to make sure that server stability is solid with the increased player count that would show up there. But I hope we'll be solid enough and confident enough, given the extensive multiplayer testing we've done in the CTs 0.9 to 1.0 release schedule, that we'll have enough testing that we won't need to do that. But back to the main question of wipes. The characters that you make between 0.9 and 1.0 will not be eligible to compete in the 1.0 ladder. So it's another soft wipe. So the characters that are in the beta multiplayer will go into a standard league. They'll still be playable, so they're not going to be wiped. So it's a hard question to answer. When's the next wipe? Never. At 0.9, at 1.0, it depends. Define wipe. So it's a little tricky, but hopefully that gives enough info. And I think this is basically how most people do it. Other side note as well is the people who are playing multiplayer right now in the CT builds, that is a separate environment. It's like a PTR where they're not eligible. Those characters stay in the community tester environment. They do not get a head start when 0.9 releases. And they're very aware of that. Or if they're not, everyone I've talked to about has been very aware of it. Put it that way. Well, some decent stuff there. The old doot. Alright, next question here. From the gameplay that we saw on Zizzer's stream, how much more are you going to improve combat feel? I saw that only a couple of enemies are improved, as there are no arrows improvements for combat feel at all. There were no arrows improvements for... it might be a little subtle in some cases, but every single enemy has had, and every single ability has had combat improvements, period. So all of them have had it. It is an ongoing process that will continue well through 1.0. That's not something that's it ever gets finished, really. But yeah, every ability has been hit. Actually, so there's just yesterday or last week, there was a bunch of the ragdoll improvements that went through. Kind of just subtle little things that have a surprisingly big effect. So the a lot of the enemies that have ragdoll incorporated into their death animations have basically weights attached to their feet, and it provides a more realistic ragdolling style that happens to them. So they don't go quite as crazy, but it's still ragdoll, and it feels more realistic, I guess. What's your favorite class in the game? It's Rogue. I keep trying to play other things, and I do really have fun playing other things for sure. But like, I keep coming back to Rogue. It's just so great. I love it so much. And I know Llama will like this, I've been experimenting subtly with a two-handed melee rogue for fun. He keeps going on about it. It's gotta be fun, right? Since you mentioned roadmap, are there going to be are we going to get a rough layout for the future like before? I don't think we have any plans to redo that exact same style of upcoming roadmap stuff. Right now, it basically just looks like multiplayer. There's a bunch of other stuff on there, I guess, too. But it's possible. I haven't seen one in a while, though. I would also love a concept artwork book as much, just saying. Nudge, 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 nudge. Yeah. Do you plan on doing a league of some sort? Yep, we're doing cycles. Yeah, never mind, you answered that. Yep. Will we ever hear more Epoch talking to us? Yeah, story delivery in general is getting a lot of work. There's a lot of progress happening there, a lot of great stuff. I would be surprised if we didn't. When can we expect the Quinn69 sponsored stream? I don't know. Also, just I guess for the record, the streams this week with Ziz and Steel Mage were not sponsored. That was a they came to us situation, which was great. Ton of fun. I think they did too. I'm gonna watch back the replay. I was in a bunch of meetings during their stream yesterday, but I'm gonna watch back the replay for that. Can we have Gregory in the main servers? I mean, so Gregory has quickly become a staff favorite character, and he's out. He's looking for jobs. He's being really responsible about it. He's not just sitting at home. He's out there. He's dropping off applications. He's doing his best to find another job. We put him out of work pretty early, but he's coming back. We'll find something else for him to do. Would you ever do a multiplayer stream on this Friday stream at all? Yes. It was fun hearing all the different ESG perspectives and see the gameplay. Yeah, I'd really like to do that for sure. I don't know if we'll be able to, but if I get the chance, I will definitely jump on it very quickly. And yeah, I know there's a lot of people that I want to get on the stream. It is tough because it takes a little bit of planning, takes them away from doing work on the game, all that sort of stuff, and but I do want to get some more people on here and just talking. Because there's a lot of cool perspectives people have and things they've worked on that I think could be really neat to share. Oh, hello. I think we need a spear though, don't we? It's too bad. It'd be really nice. And we made our gloves. I'm just gonna start dropping stuff because I know they're great. I'm sorry if this is something that you're looking for. Oh, that brain. Such nice stuff. Oh, let's take a look. Let's climb to the top of the hill and take a look around. This is one that I always think's an arena when it loads in. I'm like, oh, an arena. Wait, is it an arena? I don't think it's an arena. No, it's not an arena. Dang it. Alright, is your Warlock class at all similar to the Warlock class from Silk Road? I don't know that game well enough to comment on it. And frankly, if I did know that game well enough, I probably wouldn't make a direct comment on it because it gives a lot of roundabout information that we're not ready to share. Alright, next one. Has there been any mention of doing leagues like PoE to keep things fresh in the future? Yeah, and so we have talked about this pretty extensively, and there's a more detailed response, I'm sure, in lots of places, but I'd say that the short answer is yes. So if you look on the Diablo Season 2 Path of Exile League spectrum, it'll be somewhere in between those two, probably leaning a little bit more towards the PoE side of things, but not definitely doing our own thing. It's a three-dimensional graph. All right. When can we expect the lock class 1.0? Have you spoken about how you guys are going to handle queues for multiplayer? We haven't. That's still details of stuff we're I guess finalizing and making sure it's smooth before we really go into detail on how it's going to work. Sometimes things like that get altered a little bit based on feedback. Sometimes those things like that get altered a lot based on feedback, but it is really important. Like we're doing our best to get the login servers to be as efficient as possible. Spinning up extra cloud servers at super peak game like player counts or super peak times. I don't know what you want to call that. Just when there's a lot of people playing, getting those queues down as low as possible is really important. So that's gonna be stuff that we continue to, work on and. Just crushing through here. I know as a few tests for that exact problem. What we've done is we've done things like disable all the bare metal boxes for a region, and just have everyone join that region, and sort of like see what happens. So that's like effectively the rate that we can pull people out of a queue at with super ultra high peak users. Any plans to weave cycle content into the Monolith, similar to how PoE puts extra content in maps? Yeah, and I think that it's important to note that that could be the primary part of a cycle, is extra content in the Monolith. Like that could be the focus of a cycle for sure. I think the Monolith is one of those things that's going to become a pretty core part of our endgame structures, and we'll see a lot of pretty frequent minor adjustments, and then some infrequent major adjustments too. We'll see adding new mechanics into it. We'll see all sorts of things, I think. Will EHG always be an online-only company? I heard most of you guys work remote. All of us work remote, actually. I guess, like, technically one person doesn't, in a weird way. But no, everyone is remote. And we have been since day one. And when you start a company from scratch as a pure remote studio like that, it's really hard to transition because every single person you've hired is for a remote position. And like we got people all over the world, and like even if you were gonna like try and set up shop somewhere, and like pick an office location and say like, okay, we're gonna pick an office location where more people than anyone else in the world work, to like make it so the fewest people will have to move. You're still asking like 95% of the company to move. Like there's nowhere where there's a large concentration of people enough. And like, yeah. So I'd be pretty surprised if we ever switched to a physical office location. There's a lot of really good positives about having a physical office location like that. But just because of how we started and how we've been going, it's really, it would be hairy to, there would have to be a really, really important reason to do so. And I haven't seen one of those yet myself. But who knows? Maybe one day. Is the duration of the cycles known? And if not, do you guys have an approximate time frame in mind? We don't have it set in stone yet. I would expect them to be relatively similar to what you see in other games in the genre. Yeah, like generally in that same realm, ish, give or take. And we may experiment with longer, shorter. I saw a really cool suggestion on the forums. It was quite a while ago now, though, where you have like, and they related it back, and they won me over as soon as they started relating it to how to the golden age of Magic, so to speak. So in the past, there's a card game, if anyone doesn't know, Magic the Gathering, very popular card game. They release new sets constantly, and so the primary competitive play format for Magic is just the most recent X number of sets. I know that's not an accurate exact definition of it, but it's the most recent like 5-ish sets. And I know that's not accurate. Just an example. So the sets rotate constantly. And for a long time, they were releasing sets in what was called a block. So you have a block of 3 sets, and the sets would release over the period of about 3 months, 2-3 months each, something like that. And they'd form this sort of cohesive story of 3 sets that would go together. And then they start a new block, which would consist of another 3 sets. And sometimes they would do 2 sets, sometimes they would slide in an extra set here or there, but usually it was 3 sets make a block. And I saw a suggestion that related having a cycle, like a longer form cycle, with major changes in these mini patches, in these like large patches that didn't restart the cycle in the middle of that. which I thought was a really cool idea, and I hadn't actually thought of it before. I hadn't heard anyone vocalize it before. I'm sure it's not a completely original idea, but you know, it was the first time I'd heard it, and I thought it was pretty cool. I liked it. We haven't considered doing that at all, but it's what I'm saying is there's still a lot of things we could try, and a lot of details that are not nailed down with regards to cycle length and details and specifics, and we are open to feedback and suggestions on those as well. How you spoken about how you guys are going to handle queues? Oh, I think it was a repeat question. Do you guys have any plans to make the Monolith tree visible to players other than the host in multiplayer? This is a really good question, and oh my goodness, is it tricky, and we would love to. Probably not. Probably not. We are looking. So there's something similar that happens in the Vaults of Uncertain Fate, and I can talk a little bit about the goals there and what we hope to get in. It's not in yet. Don't know if it's possible or not. But so like the first person, one of the options we're exploring with the Vaults of Uncertain Fate is in order to make it so that it is still useful to do it in a group, but not explicitly best to do it in a group. We want to. I guess have one person take charge of paying for the vault and picking the mods that are going to be in there, but still having the other people be able to have input on there and not get full benefit. Which I know is a really vague and nebulous way to say everything, but like this is one of the options we're exploring. So as a possibility, what might happen, I'm trying to be really clear, it's not set in stone yet, is you'd be able to see what the other person was doing in that window. You could be like, so everyone would see the mod that's being offered at the time, and you could talk to each other and say like, hey, I really want that one, or I don't care about that one at all, or like, yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I think it'll be a really good way to do it, and so extending. Sorry, I remember what the question was about now. Extending that type of system to the monolith, I think, would be ideal. Where one person would be like in charge of operating it. Maybe it's the first person that opens it, or just like whoever's monolith it is in charge of operating the device. But having other people be able to open and see what it looks like in order to give feedback on it, might be doable. And if it is, I think it would be really positive. The bar for highlighting idols for me is too low because I'm finding a lot of idols that are like, this is great, and they're good. That double dash, great game. Alright, do you guys have any plans to make... Oh, wait. Same question, I'm gonna read it twice. That sounds amazing, because you'll never have 100% conflict with PoE, but also more time the devs in between, to dev in between. Yeah, it's... Yeah. Not conflicting with PoE releases is a very important thing for us to make sure is at least taken into account, especially early. Feels like the music's really loud. Turn it down a bit. I don't know if the music was just swelling there, but all of a sudden I'm like, I can really hear the music. Where are we? Yeah, we don't want to compete with a PoE multiplayer release. It's foolish at best. For everyone involved. For us, for them. I mean, not so much for them. They probably wouldn't care that much. But yeah, it's not wise. Like we can see. I know this is nowhere near the same, but like just viewership on this weekly stream, the number of people that show up to streams on a PoE launch day is tiny compared to normal. It's like it's 60%, 70%, 80% just vanish, which is fully expected. Yeah. Will solo stash work the same way in multiplayer as it does offline? One stash per character, will it be a stash for non-trade self-bound? I think we're leaning more towards having it be... I don't think this is set in stone yet. I think we're leaning towards having... we'll lean towards having them a single stash... one stash per non-trade self-found, not one stash per solo character as it is now. I think that's the way it's going or leaning. Semenjurus, thank you for the resub. That's 3 months in a row. This is my chance for a free question. How do you spell Epoch? You mean how do you pronounce Epoch? E-P-O-C-H? That's how you spell it? Exactly how you spelled it? I think. Feel free to re-ask that question if I got it wrong. You all mentioned at the different servers around the world, which is great to hear. Are you able to share internal expectations about player numbers for 0.9 and subsequently 1.0? I have no idea what those numbers are. I'm sorry. And I probably wouldn't share them if I knew. I'd have to get approval to share those numbers. But I have no idea what they are. I'm sorry. Will SSF characters be able to play with other players? So we're still working out details of all that. By definition, I would assume no, because solo and playing with other people is kind of a conflict of terms, I think. I love letting enemies explode and deal damage to surrounding enemies. Anything like that planned? That already exists. Like, there's already abilities that say, like, when this thing dies, it'll deal damage to stuff around it. That's definitely already in the game. Also, don't forget to put at Last Epoch game in a question, and I will make sure to grab it. Hey Mike, thanks for doing this again. You're welcome. Glad to have you here. Loving the open communication. Will dungeons continue to implement unique mechanics, key requirements, or functions, or can we expect to see dynamic, random dungeons for story diversion, loot opportunities, something to break up linearity of an area? So that's kind of what they're there for, is to provide extra options to jump off the beaten path if you want. We will continue to add more dungeons. They'll still likely all have the same key features of a dungeon, being that they have a unique mechanic through an extra ability and a unique reward at the end. Number Addict has subbed. Thank you very much. Glad to have you with us. Welcome, welcome. Stick around, have some fun. Maybe you'll teach me something. As people do all the time. Alright. Mike, when 0.9 drops, when 0.9 patch will be released? Question mark. We don't have a set date for that yet, I'm sorry. For example, in PoE, almost every league mechanic is tied to the Atlas, requires you to do maps. How are you going to add new content? Will everything be tied to the Monolith system? Not everything will be tied to the Monolith system, no. I think there's a really good opportunity to add new systems to the Monolith and new mechanics to the Monolith in a new cycle mechanic. I think that's a great place to do things. There's a lot of really easy wins there. There's adding entire new islands, shuffling where the islands are, changing the connections between them. Like, that stuff you can do that doesn't really require much of anything and can have a pretty significant impact on the flow of endgame. And then once you get inside as well, having maybe different types of islands show up, having new things that can show up in specific islands. Like there's lots of stuff you can do in there, and we kind of tried to build it in such a way that there were opportunities for these extra mechanics to appear. Will it be the only thing? Absolutely not. The end game systems that you see in the game right now are not the only ones we have planned, so they're not the only ones that will have room for adding. We'll have room for adding new end game mechanics and cycles. We'll have room for maybe a cycle is like a dungeon specific cycle, and it adds several new dungeons. Maybe a cycle is adding a new mechanic altogether, a new in-game system altogether. Maybe it's an arena-focused cycle, and there's a lot of stuff with that. I don't know. There's lots of different ways we can do this, and so we're gonna try and explore as many different avenues as possible with our cycle mechanics and cycle content. You know, just we're kind of just treating each one of them as, I guess, a really big patch that we get to add a bunch of new fun stuff to the game. The Wangari spires I find especially dangerous. And then we've got the lovely avalanche that I'm so good at avoiding. Oh yeah, it's my specialty. Alright, any plans on bringing back Ravaging Stance? Not as an active skill that goes on your bar, at least, but I could see it being a node in something, passive triggered ability, something that goes on an item. You know, there's lots of places where it could show up still, but I don't think it'll reappear as an active like ability that goes like one of these. Hey guys, I'm trying to have a conversation with everyone here. It's pretty rude. Come on. I said walk away. You should have walked away. Alright, what's next? What's next? What's next? Do you guys think that the box price could be a disadvantage compared to a free-to-play model of PoE? Possibly. It's really hard to say. I think there's different expectations with a free-to-play game and a box price game. Some of those are good, some of those are bad. It's hard to specify is, but no, it's, I guess, what we're doing, and I think it's the right call. Yeah. Oh, we've got a whole bunch of stuff happening here. Hunter Solomon has subbed. Thank you very much. Glad to have you with us. Welcome to the party. And then we've also got a big 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're very nice. Astria. Astria. That's what I'm saying. I like it. I like that. That's my favorite way of pronouncing it, I think. So that's what I'm going with. I love it. Thank you very much for the gifted subs, and congratulations to anyone who got one of those. Hope you're having fun. Hi, Aaron. How's it going? Good job. Proud of you. Thank you very much. I assume that was pronouncing your name right. Yeah. I'm just gonna assume I'm great at that. So terrible at that. I'd be shocked if I got it right. Any thoughts on having minion damage in game shows actual damage, not just percentage increases? So you're talking about flat added, like plus 10 melee minion damage, and that does exist. It's pretty rare. I should say that does. I'm pretty sure it exists somewhere. It's pretty rare, and the general plan is to keep it that way. I really need an exalted spear. That's what I need. Any exalted spears? Rare staves. Not quite. Not quite. Insidious Aspect also subbed. Thank you very much, guys. Tons going on here today. We're flooding the place. Lots of kids gonna be playing sports. I would assume. I don't know the extent of their programs, but I like to think. So whenever we get a new charity that we're gonna sponsor, I'm like, that's wrong. We're giving them money. A new charity that we're streaming for. I always like go check out their website, just see like roughly what they're about, and yeah, I do like the. There's been a few that have been really like, yeah, that's my jam. Sending kids to sports, it's my jam. I played hockey growing up, which was so awesome. Only actually really stopped because of the pandemic. Haven't picked it back up again. Luckily, they'll accept my beer gut back. All right. Next question. Do you have any plans to ensure that the new player's experience is the best in all ARPGs? Something like build templates like PoE China has. I think the goal... So probably not with built-in build templates. Maybe. That's something I could see maybe happening. But I think the goal is more so to try and create... And I think we've done a really good job about this already, actually, is trying to create a natural flow and progression with the abilities, and having straightforward synergies be generally pretty effective and generally pretty good, where you're able to say, like, I'm gonna be I'm gonna be a Void Knight, and I'm gonna focus on Void abilities, and I'm going to take Void synergy abilities and kind of just try stuff out, and it's probably going to go pretty well, you know? Like, as long as you're being remotely appropriate with your choices, like, you're not taking increased poison damage when you're doing Void build, you know? Like, as long as you're not going completely just left field with things, you're probably going to have a good time. And I think that's really, like, I think that's important to have that sort of natural flow experience built in for the new player experience. We do try and make things a little bit, like, we do sometimes say, like, okay, well, here's a good node for an early, like a new player to get experience with this, or we do try and take that into account sometimes. Explicit build guides for new players, I think, is dangerous. Especially if there's... I have no experience with the PoE China build guides that are in that client, so I'm really not speaking to that at all. But I can see a trap that would be really easy to fall into is having those builds that are those noob friendly build guides that are built in, having those be not like top tier pushable builds, and having them end up being like, there's this like expectation that we're like setting you up for success with a really good build, and then it's like it doesn't perform at end game really well, and there's this like disappointment that we've set you up for failure, because the expectation of success might be set a little too high, possibly, with a build like that. And I think there's some dangers there that I'd like to avoid. It is a neat idea, though. I don't know. Oh, let's turn this heating pad back on. I've like draped it through my shirt, so it's going like under my shirt down onto my back, and then I've got one of those like rubber physiotherapy, like stretchy bands tied around my waist, holding it in place. Oh, it's like how I'm surviving right now. Also Robux. as prescribed by a doctor, under the maximum limit. Stay safe, stay hydrated. All right. Is there any chance of changing being able to respec the mastery? So this is something that comes up a fair bit. I think so. Right now, we don't have any plans to. We generally think of the game more of having 15 classes than having 5 classes with 3 ascendancies. And so I think there's a little bit of an expectation of being able to change that because of PoE having that as an option. And I don't think that on its own is a good enough reason to change it. It's not a reason not to change it either, if that makes any sense. But yeah, it's not something we're planning on changing right now, but it's not there's no like it's there forever and it will never change or anything like that. I don't know what accent that was. Was that Churchill? Was that a really terrible, subtle Churchill? That was the world's worst Churchill impression. That's what that was. Is there any chance? I already read that one. I believe you guys have said that you don't want to make it feel like multiplayer is required for any content, but what about content that encourages party play but doesn't actually require it? For example, in Warframe, it's better for you to group up with leveling gear, but you can still do it just fine by yourself. Yeah, I think that I'd really like to see people playing with friends, playing with strangers that become friends. And I think having as few barriers to entry there as possible, and having it be a smooth process getting into that, and that's a solid base to a helmet. There's not a lot there, but yeah, it's just a solid base. It's the right stats. Do we want to do one of these little shade? Maybe not. Yeah, like we definitely want it to be a very smooth process getting multiplayer, leveling multiplayer. I think there's some subtle things that that'll be like this is really good to play multiplayer. This is really nice to play multiplayer. Like, and it's a fine line to walk. Not having the feeling left out of having something more efficient on the the grass is greener type effect is tough to skirt. And it's trying. Sometimes it's trying to find things that make it better that the other person doesn't want. And I don't have a good example of this, but like, get out of here, Avalanche. But just having something that you can give for people to play multiplayer that people who really don't want to play multiplayer don't care about. I have no idea what that is right now, but that would be the ideal stuff to do. And there are some natural synergies that are just like natural, like things that are better that are just gonna happen. As simple as just like your friend is dropping loot and you're dropping loot, and you might drop things that are good for each other. Like just that alone is potentially decent chunk. What type of stats are we looking for? Resistances? How are our resistances right now? They are gorgeous. Okay, so we don't really need resistances here that much, do we? Fire, physical. Yeah, the fire not so much at all. We could reroll that fire actually on our piece that we have. Oh, we got another one. Thank you very much. It puts everything in all lowercase over here. And I have a feeling this is one of those names that when I look at it, later on and see it, it'll have some capitalization. It'll make this a lot easier to figure out. But we're gonna go Stubbs Sugar Dyson. Stubbs Auger Dyson. Stubbs Auger Dyson? Is that what it is? Stubbs Auger Dyson? I used an auger recently to drill some post holes for a big fence. It's not that big of a fence, but still. That was pretty cool. I mean, that's the one right there, isn't it? Let's craft on this. Ah, yes. Ah, yes. Ah, yes. It's my terrible Matt Berry. Father! I just want to up it once first. Let's just try and go right away. Yeah, okay, that's fine. The health we'll just put there. Oh, the hybrid health's not on here, right? You idiot, Mike. Derpty derp, dirty herp. Well, endurance will be good, actually, probably. Our physical resistance will drop below with this off, won't it? Yeah, so we could just put physical res there. I don't even need those, yeah. Or we'll take 2 real big hits right away. Oh, we got there. That's I probably sealed this. I probably should have upped it once first before sealing it. But that's a T22 relic with a very nice increased healing effectiveness and damage over time mods. Mana regen, we're not really shy for mana regen at all. The implicits are really big here, though, aren't they? Nah, I don't care. I like having the exalted. Nah, whatever. Flip for me. Thank you. All right. Oh, moving on here. What happens to the current solo characters? Will we still be able to play them? And will there be game-based challenge for solo characters? Will it be offline client-based? So the current solo characters will stay exactly as they are as current solo characters offline. Any silliness planned, Easter eggs, Calible, that kind of stuff? Who says we haven't done it already? You just haven't found it yet. No, seriously, don't go looking. It's not there. Yes, I think that there's the cow level is a fantastic example of diegetic silliness. Oh, nailed that term, and I love it. And I definitely want to add stuff like that into the game, and both in the sense of having secrets and silliness, and I think those are both key parts to it, because we've definitely done the secret stuff before, and seeing the people hunt for it and find it and try and hunt for more and not finding it, and all, it's just so great. The first time Fractured Crown was unveiled as a thing and people started hunting for it, like that hunt was so great. It was like a week-long hunt for it, and maybe even longer. Oh, it was a great week. However long it took, I don't know. That was so cool to watch. And I talked to a few people that were working really hard to get it. And the people I talked to were having a lot of fun with it. And one of them, I remember one of them opened a conversation with me and was like, "Whatever you do, don't tell me how to get this. But I'm working on it, and this is what I've tried so far." And I just thought that was really cool. Anyways, thank you very much for Vecnal! Big ups for the sub. Yeah. Will you use League seasons to test out new systems that will be added permanently to the game? Yeah, this is like, so the question kind of assumes that the content done in League seasons will not be part of standard right away, which we're still debating. It's possible. I think if we add something to a cycle, it's something that we're probably pretty confident that we want to keep in the game long term. We can be wrong about that. But especially early on, when we're still gaining momentum, gaining experience with doing these sorts of things, the types of content that we're going to be seeing early on in cycles is not time that we're going to want to be wasting. I always think it's the wrong word. Not time that we're going to want to be getting limited value out of. That's a good way to put it. So it's stuff that we're going to be putting in with the plan to push forward on, I think. For the most part, at least. And a lot of that is just from a, like, studio resources perspective, right? And I do apologize if I'm getting a little bit behind on the questions. There's usually not so many, and so I've gotten into the habit of being a little more verbose, I think. But I'll try and make sure I get through if I've fallen really far behind, I'll try and do a rapid fire section where I burn through a few before the end. Aside from the obvious ability to play with your friends, what other features do you feel are uniquely provided in multiplayer experience in Last Epoch? I think one of fundamental to a multiplayer experience, having the sharing. This is kind of just the stuff you said apart from multiplayer. I think it feels like there's more value in the things you find just because it's in an environment that's shared. Like, if you've seen the show Last Man on Earth, and he like collects a completely priceless set of artwork and everything, and the value it holds is so minimal because he's alone. There's no one there to share it with, to show it off to, all those sorts of things. And so I think that a lot of the things that are just in the game already become better when it's in a multiplayer environment, personally at least. That shared experience is valuable. But that's really just the playing with your friends. I don't know. I don't have a good answer for this. Sorry. I'll try and think about it more. Hey, asked earlier but forgot to add the name. Sorry, I missed it. Thanks for reposting it. I appreciate that. I'm enjoying the game and dying to look cool, which I consider the real end game. When will the cosmetic store be open? It allows me to look cool and support the development. Well, we appreciate that for sure. It's going to be part of, I think, 0.9. It's in development right now. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a 0.9 feature, or possibly like shortly after. But yeah, that's the sort of thing that we want to get up and running for multiplayer, because we do know that it is an important thing for a lot of people. And one of the things we wanted to do, and that I think we've done a pretty good job at, is getting a lot of the visuals in game for items that are in the game, which I think is an important step to getting any sort of MTX visual store. So you can look cool, which I think you can look pretty sweet without any sort of MTX purchases. Like, come on, right? Come on. I love this armor. This is one of my favorite. I'm lucky I'm in this because this is one of my favorite armor sets. Just melting. Get it? It's a nice prison. Hello. Woohoo! Bye! Have fun. I know there's bad guys there still. Too bad. With the last 3 masters coming at 1.0, is there concern about bugs, etc., since they won't be in beta at all? Oh yeah, that was a big part of the consideration for sure. Definitely, yes. I think we'll still have our tester program running at that point. So hopefully that'll help, like just like test rounds and stuff to get stuff tested earlier with a slightly larger audience to help find more bugs out and stuff like that. Yeah. Where am I going? I know this isn't the way. But we're clearing the map now. That's what we're doing. Yeah. It's the plan all along. Got to make sure the whole map's cleared, except for that bit on the left. We don't care about that. Will the in-game help stay updated over time? Yes. Also, do you think... Also, thank you so much. I love not needing to go to a random wiki and maybe get a real answer. Yeah. We definitely do have... So, if anyone's wondering, there's press G, open the game guide. Tons of info in here about all sorts of topics. Blessings, totems, blind, all sorts of random stuff in here. And it's definitely not finished. Definitely has a long way to go still. But we're going to keep doing that. Follow me, I dare you. Oh god, they followed me. They called my bluff. Didn't see that coming. They're madmen. And women. And dogs. And birds? Alright, next question. Who was better party member, Stansor or Judd? Well, Stansor knows how to get some pretty strong deeps, but he definitely plays glass cannon, no support, purely for number 1. So it's, you know, and I think Judd generally is more interested in the making something cool happen category. That's a tough question to answer. I'm gonna say because do I just say Judd because he's the boss? No, I got it. It was our guest. It was our host. Sorry, it was Ziz or Steel Mage on those days. Those are the better party members. Sidestepped like a boss. Nailed it. All right. Moving on. Any price point on cosmetics? None so far. Sorry. Any thoughts on minions getting damage numbers, not just percentage in game to show? I think this is about. I don't know what this question is. I'm sorry. Any thoughts on minions getting damage numbers and not just percentage in game to show? Is this like asking if we're gonna get this damage per second number to show up properly for minions in the tooltip? Hopefully, working on it, trying to. It's really hard to do for them, especially. Or if you're asking if like this plus 56 spell fire damage, if we'll get plus 56 spell minion fire damage. Less likely, and I already answered that one, but I'd say probably not. And oh my god, I just got to the 5 gifted subs. I am 26 minutes behind. That's not the worst, but I'm 26 minutes behind. Okay, let's shall we go on a little bit of a speed run here? Okay, boss fight then speed run. Yeah. When the game launches, will the prices increase? No, we are planning to stick with our $35 price point. That's the plan. $35 USD. Is there a date on the next patch for new modifier changes? Excited to back to my Hammerden. No, we do not have any dates planned for the next The next patch.
Do not stand in my way.
This boss fight actually can require some decent concentration.
This is a mercy. Behold the rage of winter. Shatter. Do not stand in my way. Rise, my fallen champions. Aid me.
There's a reason you're fallen. Boop.
This is a mercy.
Oh, I'm in the ice beam.
Do not stand in my
Come on.
way.
Yep, there we go. I guess we're not empowered, are we? Yeah, it's not nice, but it's not terrible.
Come, sons of Artor, aid me.
Oh, hey, puppy. You know you're playing on content that's not hard enough when.
This is a mercy. Shatter. Do not stand in my way. I
Nailed it. Ooh, 2 keys. I'll take it. Alright, what do we got? Cold res? Spell cooldown chilling? Yeah, definitely cold res. We just pull that off other gear slots. I don't care about the helmet anyways. No new date on the next patch. Sorry. Was cooldown reduction as a prefix suffix considered before? Yes. What's the team's current stance on this? It is so increased cooldown recovery speed is a prefix on helmets, and we're happy with that. So that's the stance. Yeah. All right. Any thoughts about a Twitch plugin like PoE's got? Yeah, that'd be sweet. Oh, boom! This is the empowered unlock. And now we've got hard mode. Woohoo! We're gonna go all the way back to the start, I think, and take the path less traveled. Do I have to leave and come back? Do I have to not have an active one? Did I mess this up with my attempting to unlock it before? Am I just terrible? Mike, you've ruined everything, haven't you? Alright, let's go play some arena. Whoa! Buttons. I know what they do. Any thoughts about a Twitch plugin? Yeah, there's lots of plugins, APIs, all that sort of stuff that we'd love to do. It's tough. Getting the game out first is the priority. I think you also already have done a great job, but with the RPG being extremely complex genre, always more helps, and PoE does a very bad job of this. I'm not sure what that question was in reference to. I'm sorry, I'm so far behind. Let's just hop right into an arena run. Oh, we gotta start early, eh? Well, let's just power through some early ones and get some hard ones, because these are fun. When you are making encounters, do you have a baseline expectation from players, defenses like all resist capped, X amount of armor, dodge, glancing blow, ward, etc.? When you have mandatory stats, build variety also gets hurt. Yeah, not really. I'd say there's sort of a we'll more so look at kind of look at a boss and say, like, okay, we think this is a like X end game level boss, and we want it to have like roughly Y difficulty, and sort of, I guess, play different characters against it and see how it feels with a variety of different similarly styled or differently powered characters, if that makes any sense. But we're not really saying, like, we're not really putting specific numbers on things like, okay, you gotta have capped res for this, because we try and put enough different defensive and offensive layers in that you're not going to take all of them. So some builds specifically don't cap res, and some builds specifically don't take block, and some builds specifically don't take dodge. And so we don't want to say like you need X. And the follow-up question is, okay, well then do you look at an amalgam stat like effective HP? And the answer is still no. So like sometimes we'll look at it, but we won't use it as like a, oh, okay, the minimum EHP of 5k for this fight. Nah. Just cruising. Just go. With multiplayer coming soon, will you guys add an aura reservation skills for the classes, or maybe entire class for support? Well, so having a pure support class is not something we're planning. Having mana reservation is something we're not planning. We do already have an aura, at least one pure aura ability, Holy Aura. That's all it does, just as an aura. And there's a couple others that do have that are less traditional aura style abilities that are in there as well. And there's plenty of abilities that can be specialized or start out as support abilities that you can make support, like strictly support characters. That's definitely doable and something we're not planning on taking away, but we're not planning classes that are saying like this is a support class. We're not planning that. We want every class to be playable solo, and most of the time pure support classes are not playable solo. Yeah, I said the right words there. Alright. Also, is there any... Oh, I got the name close enough. Yeah. Alright. Also, is there any particular reason that crafting drops go to your inventory? Feels like the transfer crafting items is superfluous. Superfluous. Yeah, it's we're really trying to encourage this feeling that they are items, and one of the key properties of items is that when you pick them up, they go to your inventory. Alright, do you plan for PoE like challenge rewards per cycle? There's similarities, but not the same. It's kind of the answer for most of those style of questions. So like there's lots of good things that do come out of that, and I don't want to say that it's going to be exactly the same, but there's a lot of things that will work similarly in Last Epoch, but you know, their own twist on it. They're and yeah, I just don't want to be like, okay, this feature's the same, this feature's different. But yeah, like having things, having goals for people to accomplish inside of a cycle, I think is an appropriate and fun thing to do. How that looks and details of what that looks like, I don't know. Because while thematically there's a big difference between introducing a new NPC that sits in the world and says like you release a new area, you can put drop an NPC into the area who has like a quest chain to work through that's related to the new content. While that is thematically extremely different than a, like, say this word and don't freak out, don't freak out, like a free seasons pass style mechanic. While those two things are thematically extremely different, mechanically they're really similar in a lot of cases. So it's what that looks like and exactly how those details come through it's still very much being worked on. Personally, I'm a big fan of having it more diegetic, having it more in the game. There's a lot of really good things that brings, and having it be part of the lore, part of the world, so you can like build the story, build the lore, and sort of have people become more engaged in how things are existing in the world and care about the characters that you're playing this game with and all this stuff. I do want to just clarify what I just said about the seasons passing. So it's clear to say like a free seasons pass, like a season's journey might be a better term there. Because as soon as you're paying money, it's different. Very different. Let's go. Get through these. Get some hard ones. I do want to do a vault. I might roll through one of each dungeon here. Just back to back to back. That'll be fun. Let's do that. Do that. Do you have any holiday events like planned like RuneScape used to do back in the day? Like a whole quest line with rewards, etc. That'd be cool. Yeah, there's we've definitely talked about that, and we've considered doing it in the past and intentionally have avoided it, specifically because we wanted to keep prime game development moving forward. But yeah, I think those are really cool. Sometimes you got to be a little like winter festival day, you know. But yeah, I think there's a lot of room for good stuff like that. I also think like it's really cool to use those as an opportunity to maybe explore and educate people about cultures that aren't as front and center in the world, and because there's some really cool holidays out there and celebrations that happen in different cultures that I think would be really cool to make special days for, like pick a less North America centric holiday that maybe doesn't get featured as much in pop culture and stuff, and like and do like a different one every year or something. I don't know. I think it'll be cool. We're just spitballing here, you know. We like to make up random things in the stream as what ifs and one days, and wouldn't it be cool if. All right, well, why not cycle? Why not call the cycles epochs? It genuinely sounds cooler. It was spammed during this interview, but never got attention, I think. Yeah, it's we get that question a lot. And the term cycle is not set in stone 100%. So you never know. But I think the term recognition for what it is from using the term cycle, it's easier and quicker to recognize, to get an idea of what it is when you say like, oh, like last cycle we had this and next cycle we're gonna have this, and if you say like last epoch we had this and next epoch we're gonna have this, and we're like, wait a minute, isn't the game called Last Epoch? I don't what Last Epoch and Last Epoch we had. I mean, there's some confusing sentences there. I think gotta be careful about, you know. How many times did you hear Reed say the word multiplayer in the last couple months? Hundreds of times every day. To my friends, to my family, I'm sure most of them are sick and tired of hearing about it. Like, it's coming, guys! Can you believe it? I got to play multiplayer with one of my friends who got into the CT program. He's like, the instant applications opened up like months ago, he was like, "Apply," and like, He's been on me since for like 4 years now, waiting to get in to play it. So we got a chance to sit down and actually play multiplayer together for the first time a couple weeks ago. And it was a ton of fun. I had a blast. That was a highlight for me recently. Just on a personal aside, it's fun because we played a bunch of Diablo 2 together, and you know, so it's we play Magic together now too. But yeah, a lot of fun. Anyways, back to questions. That's why I'm here, isn't it? Hi! Hi. Big fan of LE. Could you please explain sextant blocking? Okay, so first of all, last time this question was asked, I just need to, like, I guess defend my honor with this one. I do know what sextant blocking is, and it was a joke last time, and I just want to make sure that was clear. I watched the clip back, because I looked back, you can see when people make clips of your stream, and I'm like, this clip was like way more viewed than any other clip we'd had in a long time. I'm like, oh my gosh, what have I done? Everyone just assumes I have no idea what I'm talking about here. I'm not going to go into a full explanation of sextant blocking in PoE. But thank you for reminding me, because I did want to mention that. It's a mechanic from another game. We don't have it. Alright. Would you consider I'm gonna say enabling respec passive points directly in the tree window? We've talked about it. Yes, we've considered it quite a lot. It's not planned. I will warn anyone asking, would you consider or have you considered questions? The answer is almost always yes, because that's basically all we do is consider the things about the game. My goodness. It's a good thing my resistances are stacked. Can I just, like, tank this, actually? Probably. I'm not moving. Deal with the game. Let's go do some dungeons. Any thoughts or tidbits on how trade site, auction house may work in multiplayer? Apologies if this was asked earlier. I don't think it's actually been asked yet this stream, but no, I don't have any info I can give you at all. I apologize. Nothing. Got nothing for you. It's a staff, isn't it? Bye-bye staff. We don't need your kind around here, even though those are gorgeous. Oh, so nice. It hurts me to throw these on the ground. Why am I doing this? Oh, God. They're pretty nice, actually. Let's go find... no, let's do Soulfire. Actually, no, I don't want to do that one. I want to do... I like Soulfire, but it's not the reward I want right now. Do I have any of those on me? Lightless Arbor. Here we go. We're going to spend a ton of cash. We're just going to dump our bank. Actually, you know, let's take a little break before I do. I'll see if I die first. I only got one. Let's see if I die. During the Kickstarter, you guys did an event to get a Halo MTX if you shared on social media. Will this Halo MTX be coming in 9.0? No. However, there's a possibility that we could see it in 0.9. Yes, I'm gonna be that facetious. No, that MTX, good memory. We have a list of accounts that is secure, that we do know exactly who gets that. We're still going to honor it. It's all good. I don't know when that's showing up, but hopefully, I would say hopefully 0.9. But maybe 1.0, we'll see. So you devs have been very clear that multiplayer is currently in a 1,000-man closed beta. Yeah, there's not 1,000 people in there yet, unfortunately, because we're still, like, just Actually, we may have broken 1,000 by now. Last time I saw the numbers, which was, oh god, Monday. It might be over 1,000 now. I don't know. That's interesting. But yeah, we're basically just like cramming people in as fast as we can at the moment. What's the question? Will it be in open beta as well before launch? Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure we'll do some sort of like opening it up to just let people in before. I shouldn't say I'm sure, but I'd be surprised if we didn't at least have like a weekend or something. Part of the problem is that the environment that it's in right now is closed off from everything else, so like characters that show up in that will get wiped, and that's a stark realization sometimes if you don't read the fine print that's in gigantic letters at the top of the welcome document. But yes, it's sometimes something that gets ignored, so we've got to be careful with that and make sure it's clear.
You found a way into the caverns. I knew you would help.
I love that voice. Love it. Alright. Oh, big boys. Titan spawn of the lizard. Hear that, lizard? Your Titan spawner here. Alright, next question. Sorry if this has been asked before. Is there going to be items that are unique to multiplayer game versus solo game? So like unique items that are online only. I don't think we have anything like that planned at the moment. I'm actually confident we don't have anything planned at the moment for that. I don't want to say like it'll never happen. I'd be shocked. I'd be shocked if it ever happened. Do totem skills get buffed? Like, will there be a buff to totem skills in the next patch? Some of them might be getting buffs. I don't have any specific details to share. That I don't remember any specific details off the top of my head. Let's go next room. Oh, we got a lizard raid. Did I know? Oh my god, that was 23 minutes ago. Oh, thanks, Lizard. Welcome everyone from Lizard Stream. Oh, I'm so good at this, guys. Welcome, buddy. You had some good questions, some sneaky questions too, on the on Ziz stream. I liked it. Big fan. There was one where like he wasn't sure that you were doing a sneaky question. I liked it. All right. Will a drop rate be adjusted to make certain items more desirable for trade? So I'll refer back to the multiplayer FAQ. There's a more there's a carefully worded answer to that question in there. I think it says something along the lines of, we would like to have multiplayer have as little impact on drop rates for single player as possible, and as we want to maintain and preserve that as a functional gameplay environment or something like that. I don't know what it says, but everything affects everything else in some way, and yeah. So maybe something. We're doing our best to have it as little impact as possible. Yeah. Can you drop items in instances for other people? Right now, it doesn't work yet. We've like just had our first like theoretical item transfer happen, like well, actually practical item transfer happen. It went from one character back to the same character. And actually, we may have a little bit more than that happening now. I know there was a little bit of a break on working on that because we had to get some other stuff done for a patch that was coming for the CT build. Sorry, and so like there's no details on trade that we can share yet. We're still very early in the development process. Those are my usual lines, right, everyone? Click the stone! You didn't click it. What did I miss? Whatever it was intentional, because I'm the worst. Is the bazaar close? No. We have abandoned the bazaar. I apologize if you're still seeing material on our website that talks about it. Hopefully that's taken down already. We noticed there was some really old material in one of the subpages that we did not mean to still be there. We noticed that very recently. Someone pointed that out in the forums for us. Hi! Binary Depth. How's it going? Are there any plans for a guild clan setup for multiplayer? Will there also be shared stash for all members? We don't have any plans for that at the moment. It is something that we're interested in and we think has a lot of value in a lot of different games. And if we find a really good reason to add it in Last Epoch, we'll definitely look at that. For now, it's not planned, but we're not like against it. It's just we don't have a good reason to do it, so we're not doing it yet. Will players be able to import filters in 0.9 and 1.0? Yeah, the filters should import just the same as the ones that exist now. No problems. There's always a chance for bugs, but okay. We're gonna focus. Like, do we need to focus? Nope, we don't. Nice. Go stand over here. Let's go into the mouth. We are totally appropriately leveled for this. What are you talking about? So there is an instance of variable difficulty content in this fight right here. That move that's happening right there, where the heart takes two beams and moves them outward from the center point, where they rotate in opposite directions from each other. This attack right here, boom, like that. See how far they get, the angle that they finish at? The percentage that those beams travel around the model of the boss is variable based on the tier that you're playing. Tier 4, it gets basically all the way, and you pretty well have to be standing directly behind, or have a way to like jump over the beam, jump past the beam, dodge past it, something like that. And that's the sort of stuff that I'd like to see implemented more and more strictly as well, and more extensively, not strictly, extensively. Peak and foot of the mountain. Tops and tails. Alright, and void damage, necrotic. Yeah. Some nice items there. Not for this build though. But and I need space to put things. Oh my goodness, yes, space to put things. Yes. Our goal is the spear, so we can keep that. All right. So this is one of our dungeon rewards, whereby you get to either purchase or pass on different mods that will affect the vault that's going to be opened, and it will affect the number of chests that are going to be opened. It will affect the number of items in each chest. You can multiply them. There's all sorts of cool stuff that happens here. So this for 1600, it's going to add a chest that drops many runes and glyphs. So yeah, let's do that. Sure, adds a chest that drops several exalted helmets. Maybe we don't have an exalted helmet. Sure, let's get that. Turns blue. It means it's like an epic one. All chests drop 30% more items. Yeah, okay, sweet. Gold is a lot. I mean, gold's the epic one. I don't know. That's probably more likely. It's really expensive. If you decline one, the price goes up and up and up and up and up and becomes more expensive the more you decline it. Several pieces of exalted jewelry. I'll actually pass on that one. No, I don't know. It's over here. Helmets? Sure. Unique weapon. We don't need unique to the exalted weapons. Yeah, that's a big one. Sure, let's do it. Why not, right? It's chugging away at our gold. This is our remaining gold up here. Exalted relics all chest? Sure. Several exalted weapons to a random chest. Yes, please. Nah. Exalted item. Yeah, sure, let's do that. Yes. Yes. All right, this is max number of modifiers. All right, we got pretty heavy on there. Did I even not get the full number of chests? Oh, Mike's a noob. Yeah. Okay. So. It's wand, mace, boots. Yeah. Yeah, nice, not for us. That's rogue stuff, you jerk. Come on. Some nice stuff here, but it's just not lining up with our build. Some really nice stuff here, actually. Ooh. Oh yeah, that'll play. All right, well, we didn't get the weapon we were looking for. That's okay. Some fun crafting stuff there. I'm just gonna try and power out some questions, and then I'll do a little crafting on some of this while I'm doing it. This is a good one to start on. Yeah, there's some nice stuff there. Get rid of that dodge rating. Okay. How do you see trade in the game? Will it be auction system or something else? No information on trade. What's the ETA 1.0? No ETA 1.0. Are you worried the game won't be sustainable on pure cosmetic MTX? No, I'm not. There's also a box price in the game. I've forgotten, can Holy Trail be chained together? Yes, they do overlap. Hey, what do you say is Last Epoch's key attractions? That's apart from ARPGs in the world. I think there's a lot of things that it does in ARPG that a lot of other RPGs do really well that attracts people to other ARPGs and Last Epoch simultaneously, which I think is really important. That it's not just like this is why it's better, but like there's a lot of things we do that are really solid that are just like core to ARPGs in general. But then I think we also provide a fairly approachable system. That's like, it's easy to get into, it's easy to get involved with, it's easy to start down that path of learning and creating your own builds and things like that. It's a little bit more approachable than some of the other options out there. I think we sit in a nice sort of like midpoint between D3 and PoE, as far as depth and complexity goes, which I think is really good. Idols is an interesting idea on sockets, like having sockets in the idols. I'm curious as to where they actually exist on the character story-wise. Are they just running around with a stack of idols jingling around as they go? Yeah, sure. It's a lot of stuff to hold on to. Like, where does it actually fit? Maybe there's like a magical thing that opens up. I'm not sure exactly, but it's physically kind of big to be sitting on the character. But like, where is he holding? If you load up with spears, like, where are you holding those 15 spears or whatever it is? You know. Are there any plans to add a reputation system like Grim Dawn had with Nemesis spawns and cosmetics? Nothing I can specifically talk to, but you know, it's a. I remember it in Grim Dawn, and remember that being a cool thing to play with. But nothing that I can be like, yes, this. Nah, it's a cool system. Yeah. Sorry. No details on it. How do you see the trade in the game? Will be auction. Oh yeah, I already answered that. No phone trade. Sorry. Will there be adventure mode like D3? You can skip main campaign and seasons. Not at 1.0. Possibly added later. It's not something we have time to answer. Not something we have time to implement pre 1.0. And we still have to work out a few kinks. And an option to turn off effects for other players, please. We're definitely looking at specific portions of certain abilities not being transmitted. Burned through all of that fortune potential. That's too bad. Oh well. Let's crank the health up first. We kind of got to reroll this into, or if it gets something we care about. Oh, there we go. Can we just like seal that? That's worth a shot. Let's sealing that. Also worth a shot. That's a good helmet now. We need this CDR. That's like the number one thing. We just like have big. Health's really important to be big too. Let's see if we can. T3 health there. That's not bad. Endurance here. Let's put endurance on this. T1 strength is a little meh there, but that's a decent item. That's what we are using right now. We can bump that up actually. It's just better, isn't it? It's just the same thing, but just better. It's a pretty sick helm. Okay. Oh no, I had something for this. I had something for this. Okay, we had while we were in the middle of the stream, actually, the multiplayer stream, we were also stress testing town scenes, and getting lots of people in there. So here is just a little shot of everyone hanging out in town, mucking about in into time. Having some fun. A little group shot at the end of people hanging out in town. Yeah, so that was just our work on getting towns while we were doing this. I know I've got a ton of questions left, and I really do apologize. We're at time. I'm gonna stay for up to a maximum of 10 minutes overtime today, answering some questions here. Just to kind of get through some of these, because I know I took a lot of time. We've got a lot of people here. So I'm going to stay and answer a few more questions. I'm not going to keep playing, so I'm just going to be chilling with my dude with no helmet on, because I took it off. I'm going to put the helmet back on. And I will be answering some questions while chilling here. So let's just go through it. Will there be any way to recycle duplicate uniques for something useful? It's a unexplored mechanic, I would say, so far. We don't have anything set up specifically, but I could see it coming. If it's like it could be a mechanic down the road. Maybe it's a dungeon reward. Maybe that's something that comes in a cycle. We don't have any specific plans, but it's not out of the question. I love crafting in Last Epoch. It should be cool if there was more to do with an item once it's crafted, like enchants. Kind of any plans for crafting you can share. Crafting you can share, just like just a trade system, I guess. I'm not sure what that means. Maybe because our affixes are so like deterministic, it's so similar to enchanting systems. It's so similar to socketing systems, and it's hard to do things like that and have them be really different and like differentiate themselves from just our regular crafting function mechanically, not just thematically. How does the process for deciding what new dungeons we'll have for rewards work? And do you have a number of dungeons you guys are looking for at release? We don't have a set number we're looking for, more than 3. But we don't have a set number that we're looking at. The process for deciding what a new dungeon is, it's a pretty lengthy one, and it's usually most of, if not the whole design team, debating about it for hours. Really, it's a lot of like what ifs and trying to figure out what could happen and why we want things, why we don't want things. It's a pretty lengthy process to really work those out. It's faster now that we've got a few under our belt, but yeah, it takes a bit of time. Will we get NPC in the game that reference to someone on the dev team? How do you know there isn't already? That's not a joke. As a software dev myself, I can't imagine how big of an achievement it is to work on such a big project. Mad props to you all and your team. Good luck, much success. Cheers from Quebec, Canada. Well, I'm about as far away in Canada as I can get from you without going north. So thank you very much. And yeah, it's a lot. It's big. It's a lot bigger. I don't know what I expected when we started this, but it's a lot bigger than I expected it was going to be, which is so awesome. All right, okay, so I understand you said the solo characters stay solo, but can multiplayer characters also play on the offline solo content? For example, no. When you have connection issues. No, online characters are online, offline characters are offline, period. We should have some form of trade in 0.9, though. I just want to be clear that the definition of the term trade is, when you say some form of trade, the question I'm answering is, will there be any method by which items can move between characters in some way? That's the plan, yes. What that looks like, any details of what that is, no information. But there will be, the plan is to have some way where items are transferred from some character to some other character in some situation, somehow. I hope that was clear. When will 0.9 be released? We don't have a date yet. Sorry. Been following dev updates for the last year. Stoked to see the multiple progress, Mike. Thanks. Second phase of the mountain is my favorite boss. Really? I actually really like it too, but cool. Glad you enjoy it. That was Sam did a lot of work on that one, and I know he's pretty proud of it, so hopefully he hears that. I'll try and tell him. Any plans for a method to Gem of Ease an item for leveling? We kind of have some. I have to Google what Gem of Ease is, because I don't remember. I think I know what it is. Increases experience gained through kills by a fixed amount. Experience. There's a no is the short answer. There's a monolith blessing for that. So I could see people in multiplayer once that hits going and like rushing a character to that monolith, having their buddy power through it, jumping in there, getting that, hoping to get that that blessing, and get some experience bonus that way. But other than that, no experience bonuses in the game, I don't think, other than the ones built up inside of a dungeon or inside of a monolith. What are the chalice far right next to your boots? This is a relic. So it's one of our gear slots. It's sort of a, it is a class specific slot. There is also class agnostic ones that can go in there. So this relic can go on any class. It's not class specific, but this one is class specific. So this is Sentinel. You can see in the bottom right corner of it. It says, oh, come on. Oh, does this work? That's a bug. It's supposed to stay on screen. Tisk, 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 tisk. So this requires class Sentinel. So there's a bunch of them that are Sentinel specific that have generally a little bit better implicits and class specific implicits that go with it. And then some extra mods that can go on them that can't go on the generic ones. Have you considered adding pence to the characters? Definitely, we have considered it. We are not planning on it. What is the target / max number of players per instance in multiplayer? Non-town zones where spells and abilities can be used, 4. In-town zones where spells and abilities can't be used, we don't have a set number for it, and that's part of what that test we were just showing is about. Trying to see what the servers can handle. So we have like a I think we were doing this. We have a soft cap and a hard cap. So the soft cap is the difference between the soft cap and the hard cap is 1 more than the maximum party size, such that if you ever join a server, it puts all the people from a single party into the same server and doesn't push it above the hard cap. But if you're above the soft cap, it won't put new parties into the server until it goes back below the soft, something like that. Will there be a wipe of characters from online beta from in 0.9 to 1.0 release? We don't plan it. We plan on pushing them into a standard league. You ever plan on doing leveling quicker so you don't have to do the story over and over? We are the system we're implementing for that initially is focused around dungeons, like this one that I just did at the end of the campaign, at the end of the stream here, whereby the ending portion of every dungeon is a portal that jumps you further into the storyline. So the entrance to this dungeon is about a chapter and a half before you're supposed to get to the end of time, and once you complete the dungeon, it pops you out in the end of time, so it skips a big chunk of the story. And this lets you level faster because you're into a higher level zone quicker, and you are skipping a little bit of the story. And so all of the 3 dungeons that are implemented already do this, and the other ones that we're looking at will also do this. Some of them we're still working on rebalancing it a little bit because the initial run's a little hard sometimes, and it's not quite set perfectly yet. And when we add more as well, some of them will overlap such that you will not be able to do all of them without backtracking in a weird way, because you'd be we hopefully the goal, I think, overall the system is to kind of give players the ability to create their own campaign experience, where they say like, okay, I'm playing a character that's really good at dungeons 2, 4, and 7, and I can path through the campaign doing those 3 dungeons, and it skips huge chunks of the campaign, and I get to the end quickly because my character's really good at beating those dungeons, and I know them really well, or something like that. And I think having that type of system's really interesting, and I like it. Okay, well, I made it to the end. I thought I was further behind than that. I'm glad I caught up. Thank you all for sticking with me. We have there's one more right there. What's your favorite archetype for the team to add that doesn't exist yet? I think something focused around new weapon types that aren't in the game. So like unarmed fist weapons, get crossbows in, like weapon types, classes that are focused around, or archetypes that are focused around weapon types that don't exist yet in the game. That'd be what I'd be looking at. My personal next request. But that doesn't carry, a ton of water. All right, that's it. I'm gonna be done here. Thank you all for coming out. I had a ton of fun. I hope you had fun. I know I did. That's what I say, isn't it? Yeah. Whew. That was a great stream. It's a great stream.